All right, we should be live. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Active Reload, episode number 9, I believe. Tonight it is just myself, Arctic, and Skyless. Fatal Strike and Immortal couldn't make it, so we're gonna be holding it down for everybody. We're gonna be starting off talking about this big update Epic announced last week, right after the show. They made a big forum post. I'm gonna link it for you guys in case you don't have it already. There it is. You can check it out. Pretty much just it was a massive overview of the wish list that was sent in, and they pretty much talked about what they could do, what they couldn't do, what they thought about everything that was presented, and a lot of it was pretty good. They put the dual weapon loadout back, so now you have a shotgun again. It was put into all the playlists with the exception of free for all. That's what was done apparently. I don't know why free for all left out, but okay. Stim grenades are just completely removed from everything but free for all. The torque bow, which I just saw right before the show, I didn't even notice this. They changed the charge time from however slow it was to the Gears 3 active reload charge time, which is 1.5 seconds, which
Yeah.
is insane fast, I think. And they fixed up the prize boxes so you get all the content you're supposed to get before they just start throwing you XP. So I mean that's good at least. And of course they talked about other things like what was put in the wish list, like the theater mode and upgrading spectate, stuff like that we knew was out of reach, but it was put in there anyway. So either one of you want to talk about what you think about all this, what they're doing?
So I kind of want to talk about things that they didn't address, starting off. And one of them, which is probably the most puzzling to me, is the playlist. So going into the game, I think Jim and all those guys, they kind of talked about some of the reasons they only launched with so many traditional multiplayer game types. It was like TDM, domination, free for all, and is that it? What am I missing? I think that's it. TM, domination, free for all. Yeah, that's it. All right. Then they had overrun and something else.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you had those three game types, and the playlist at that time was really condensed. But what they didn't, I guess, account for, didn't really think about, is how they implemented the VIP. So they had those playlists plus VIP, and then when the DLC launched, they had DLC playlists. So it ultimately ended up being like, because they added VIP and then the DLC was obviously going to be separate from everyone else, they can't solve the solution of having too many playlists. And this is really hurting them now because this game, as we've talked about on previous episodes, is not sold as many copies as previous Gears titles. So they're really hurting in terms of spreading the community too thin for Judgment and trying to figure out how they could resolve this issue. Apparently, it's not as easy as everyone is saying, like, oh, we'll just condense to get rid of VIP and make it so that everyone that bought it gets double XP. I don't know why they can't do that, but it seems like that is uh, an issue that they're like aware of, and they just don't have a solution for it. So I wouldn't be surprised if this just remains for the remainder of the game. And they said they learned their lesson at the beginning of Gears Judgment, but clearly this is something that they made a mistake on twice. So I think that one is probably the most glaring of all the things uh, that they acknowledge. They knew it was a problem beforehand, and still it came to surface. And now I think, based off of Jim's response, he said, it's our own fault, and it won't happen again. But I, that's one that has me just scratching my head the most. The other one that they talked about was basically trying to, and they partially did it with adding more experience points to ranked, but they're trying to differentiate ranked from quick match in that experience. So I think the EXP is good, but I don't know if that's enough. I
Did your mic
think
just drop out? Yeah, your mic just dropped out for a second.
really
Yeah, it just
is
cut
it
out
that
for a second. It was weird. Yeah, you're
Yeah, you're
fine
good.
now. It just cut out
okay.
randomly.
Um, But so the rank versus quick match thing, they did add the XP to that, but I think that there needs to be something else. And one of the things that I don't know if it's actually the time spent in games. The other thing, hold on, before I get into that, Jim actually did say that they have a skill-based matchmaking in place.
Oh god, yeah.
Which
He,
got a lot of
he
people rolling their eyes. Yeah.
yeah, so he did say that. I don't know. I don't know if they just are like happy with the traditional true skill that Xbox, the basic one that Microsoft Xbox has behind the scenes, and that's what he's touting at his or touting as his the skill based matchmaking or whatever. But I mean, for anyone that has played, like, I mean, yeah, you play some parties of five every once in a while, but there's some people that don't deserve to be playing with you uh, that just get paired up, and there's obviously that they haven't played any games. They're ranked, whatever 2 or something like that, and you're like re-up times 5. I don't know if that's the numbers to has that has to do with that, but that was also an issue on Gears of War 3. So I just feel like that was kind of a bullshit response. Yeah, we have skill-based matchmaking, but he didn't say, it's just the basic matchmaking that it comes
It's
with
there.
every
It's
single.
not good. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
terrible.
It's not very good. So I mean, those are the kind of things that I guess kind of upset me. It's all matchmaking related. Um, that I mean, it's kind of water under the bridge at this point because the game's out. I don't think it's going to change. But like, as Jim kind of said in that that podcast, video cast, whatever they do, he said that they want to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Should there be another Gears of War game? So I hope those things are really like hammered on hard. Hopefully, they have a bigger multiplayer team to kind of work on these things. But I would definitely like to see ranked and quick match better organized, maybe a solo queue for people that play by themselves. I mean, more so than just a free-for-all game type saying, hey, you guys play free-for-all. People that want the team-based experience but don't have friends to play with. And then playlist consolidation is just so key. I mean, I think they have how many people, if they limit themselves to Microsoft's platform, how many people are going to play Gears of War? If it's Gears of War 4 or whatever the title may be in the future, I think they can kind of guesstimate how many people are going to purchase the game on the new consoles. So those are probably the things that I feel like they didn't address properly and don't really have a solution for in this update that they have coming, or the server-side stuff they did. But other than that, I mean, everything else is pretty self-explanatory if you read through it. A lot of this stuff is, we talked about on the wish list, and they just addressed it.
Yeah, it's funny when you talk about the playlist and how there should be a solo playlist. They had that in Gears 3, and it's just not there. And that's something I don't understand because they had it there in Gears 3, and they just didn't put it into Judgment. And there's a lot of things in Gears 3 they didn't bring into Judgment, though, and I mean, I'll never understand why it was like that, but it is what it is now. There's no fixing it now that it's already out. And
the Mercenary playlist, no one really played it.
yeah,
That's the thing.
yeah, it was weird.
I don't get it. No one played it. I don't know. I don't know why.
I think what they should have done is like made what would have been cool. I think is make quick match solo and make ranked team.
I would love that. Like,
yeah.
if you have 3 or more people,
Yeah, like
so that way it pairs up like 2 and 3, and then 4, and I guess it doesn't really work with 4, does it?
yeah, you gotta have like a. It could be a way to make it work.
Make it 4v4. That works.
That'd be cool to see, but I don't know. It's hard to see where this game's going right now. I mean, they're doing a lot of changes. I mean, putting the Gnasher back, that's going to bring some people back that wanted that went back to Gears 3 just simply because of that. But I mean, already sales-wise right now, somebody had already said in the chat, and I saw that myself. It's selling less than Black Ops 2 is already on weekly sales. It dropped under them, and that's just rough because I mean, the game's been out like only 2 months. Black Ops been out since November.
Yeah.
So I don't know, hard numbers to see, and it's hard to really see how far we could push the game.
I feel like the update was good. Like, it's just too late. And really, the biggest issue, which isn't addressed, and they can't even really address it, is the amount of maps and the type of maps. They actually said in their update that map counts increased significantly with current and future DLC.
Yeah.
And I was kind of thinking about it for a second. It was like, I guess if you look at it from a percentage standpoint, like three new maps on top of 4 maps is almost double. That's true. But then I guess if you want to count your map totals to include Overrun, then you should include it there too. But yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is you got 3 maps. which isn't very much.
No, it's not a lot to work with. I said this last week. I think I even said the week before. You know, once they finally start updating things, it's just going to be too late, and that's what it's looking like right now. They're putting in all these updates, they're making all these changes, but the things we need they can't do because they have contracts signed with Microsoft, and they can't just go and push new maps without their permission.
Yeah, and I don't. It's really difficult to say assess if the maps that they have, even if we talked about flashback maps last week, if they managed to get those in somehow, which I don't know what the count is. Let's say it's 3, which is I think the number we gave. So they gave 3 there, plus the other DLC, which will probably be another like 2 maps for TDM. So that's 5 new maps, and that puts the count at what's that? 6, 7, and
10.
5, 12.
12.
So
Sorry.
12.
Which is
12
2 more
maps.
than I would expect it to ship with.
And what is capital a? What is capital? I don't even know if that's a term.
Yeah.
Is it?
Is
it overrun?
we were supposed to no. Capital was supposed to come out with Haven, and we just
But
never got it.
Is it? Oh well, Jim said it's still coming, but is it a traditional multiplayer map?
Traditional, I think.
Okay, so
Oh,
that's.
Oh no, they're saying Overrun in the chat now.
They're saying
never announced
overrun.
Yeah.
I
If
don't
it's-
never
What's
announced it.
overrun?
If
Yeah, no
it's
one knows. I
if
don't
it's
know.
Overrun, I'm just gonna be.
I'd imagine it's overrun though.
I think the reason I thought it was TDM is because Colin you read off that list when we did on Frag Logic, and it said like capital had the code line in there was capital was like FFA or something like that.
Yeah.
So I thought that could be
Maybe.
a traditional multiplayer map. Either way, I
We
mean
were
that
saying
map is
the
not
Jim
there.
said overrun, so there's
Overrun?
it's 12
It's
total.
12.
If we go
Okay.
for the optimistic 3 flashback maps,
3 flashback maps, then it's 12. If it's 1, then what is that? 10. So, I mean, basically, you'd be getting the number of maps that you probably expect at the launch of a multiplayer title at that point. Now, there's one thing that is really, I guess, a compelling argument for me in this update. This would be, what, the second title update? Second or third?
I think it's the second.
title.
Yeah.
Okay,
second.
so
second.
I kind of talked about this a couple times on some of my videos, just in comments and responding to people. But how many title updates did Gears of War 2 have? 6?
6, I think.
6, and then they stopped.
Yeah.
So, if a lot of people say like TU3 Gears 2 was the best, or TU5 Gears 2 was the best, or TU6 Gears 2 was the best, and I don't remember how. I think Gears 3 had 4. But we're at Gears of War Judgment, and people are throwing this one. I won't say everyone, but people that have played it that are used to the older games are kind of throwing this one under the bus, and it's two updates into it, about to be, and instead of kind of waiting it out to see, you hear people like, I'm trading it in, I'm going back to Gears of War 3, I'm done with Gears, I don't want to play. And it's like, man, you guys suffered through 6 title updates. We all did on Gears of War 2. And we can't even get to 2 title updates on Gears of War Judgment, which I think is probably a better game in terms of polish than Gears 2. But I think at this point, it's just like, we've been through this song and dance before. And it's just, I really think people are starting to, like, get it. You know what I mean? It's like, as a consumer, it's like, okay, we've done it how many times now? Like, we don't want to wait, because this already should have been there.
Mm-hmm.
It should have been better at launch. So I think that argument in itself kind of is like, okay, you gave Gears of War 2 6 opportunities to improve, and you're only giving Gears of War Judgment 2 opportunities to improve, and some of you guys only gave it 1 with that initial title update. And so that's really interesting to me, at least from the competitive standpoint. For the community that's like kind of deciding what they want to do. Do they want to continue to play Gears? Are they going to go to hype? I think, if you're going to just see it through, then you might as well wait until after this title update and see how it goes and see how the game plays. Because, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of really good changes in. And if you play the game types that they have right now with those changes, it feels pretty good. It doesn't feel... I mean, it feels more like Gears... traditional Gears than this new Gears of War that they were trying to put on us. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels better, and it just looks better just from watching streams and seeing how people play. It looks more like traditional Gears, which is good, but we've already lost so many people that it's really hard to see how much longer Judgment's gonna last. And this is a position that like Gears players have never been in. We've never been 2 months out and been like, shit, what do we do?
Yeah,
it's usually been like 6 months before we even start thinking about that. We
Yeah,
were thinking
cycle's
about this
getting
like
shorter.
a few weeks after release. It's just it's a situation we've never been in.
I think I declared it dead on arrival before release because of the concept.
Yeah.
You might have. I think you might have tweeted that.
I think I actually used the word
I
on
think you
Frag
actually-
Logic. I said the word's dead on arrival
I'm pretty sure you did say that. 100%.
because of the 4 maps there.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's really been the big killer. That really has. I preach it hard almost every week. Everybody has.
Yeah,
The
we've all talked
content.
about
Yeah,
it.
the content. The
It's
content's been the
utterly
killer.
unacceptable. Yeah.
Yeah, like you can't release a game like this. And it was funny because we finally get the gun balancing, and then we don't get anything to work with it. So it's like I don't know. It's like Epic's thing. They take steps forward with these things, and then take massive steps back with other things.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it.
In terms of, let's talk about weapon balancing since you kind of mentioned the balancing was right. I think Jim kind of mentioned something that they might do on the test servers that would be interesting because we were all talking about this on Gears maybe 2 and 3, mostly because of stopping power, I think. But they're now talking about it again because people kind of feel like the classic loadout could be a little strong with the rifles. But the reduction in the total ammo count in your magazine with the Lancer, so instead I think it's 60 rounds.
Yeah.
I don't know what they would think about reducing to maybe 40, maybe 50. But that is the test server playlist. I might cut out again.
Yeah. You're good though.
Yeah, you're good.
I told you my connection is
It was just a random spike again.
Okay. But yeah, so they are thinking about putting this in, and it's something that we've talked about. I want to say we talked about it in Gears 2. I can't remember, but I know we talked about it a lot in Gears of War 3, reducing the total ammo count in the Lancer. So there's less, spraying and more like, okay, I only have a finite number of shots. Let me make this count. I would really like to see how this one goes into effect. That's probably the biggest, I guess, rifle other than, I don't know how many of you guys have seen it, but in the classic playlist, when they had it last week, there was a lot of people using the Marksa and Nasher loadouts. And I don't know if, I wouldn't classify the Marksa as overpowered, but those are two things that are have kind of been on the uptick since this update. But I'm not sure how people kind of feel about it. I'm kind of looking at the chat to wait to see how people kind of feel about Marksa Nasher. But I personally, I like the combination. I like being able to use it. I can't really tell if it's too slow now or if it's too strong because of the long range distance and the ability if anyone gets up in your face to switch. Another balanced one I'm kind of worried about. They didn't even address that one. The Bushka and the Boom Shot being reduced in their total ammo count. So Boom Shot we've been talking about a really long time.
Yeah.
In terms of being 3 shots is like ridiculous. And then Bushka, which was really surprising to me, has been reduced from 6 to 3. So
Yeah, I didn't understand I didn't think Bushka was that bad with 6 rounds. I don't know. Maybe it was just me.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Had too much. I was kind of surprised that I got lessened.
Yeah, I don't know why they got dropped from 6 to 3. Their choice, but I guess some people were happy about it. The Boom Shot, at least that finally got cut from 3 to 2. I don't know what took so long for that to finally happen. Years of complaining about 3 shots. How long has that been like that? Was it from?
I want to say they updated it. In Gears 2, I think it was 2, and then they made an update to make it 3. They changed like how the splash worked.
Yeah.
And then in Gears 3, I know it was 3. So
Okay, your mic is. You should just rejoin call, maybe.
okay, I can do that.
You getting robot voice?
Robot voice.
Yeah, that happens. That's good old Skype.
Yeah, I feel like with 3 shots in the Bushka, you have to be insanely accurate in order to get kills.
Yeah,
I don't know. 3 shots is really hard to get kills with.
Yeah, I didn't mind it with 6 because it has to be basically a direct hit, or they got to be standing on it or hurt for it to kill them. And you can dodge a Bushka easily. You know, there's a delay on when it detonates when it lands by you. So I didn't think it was bad. So I'm not sure when I dropped that from 6 to 3, but it is what it is. It's like that now. I don't personally agree with it, but I'll deal. You know.
It seems like they probably could have done something with the splash damage or something if spamming was the issue. I don't know.
Yeah, they could have done something with that.
I personally, I love the Bushka. Either way, I mean, it's probably like it feels better than the boom shot because the shots feel more skillful. But I don't know. I don't really think that it needed. I personally don't feel like it needed it. I was really surprised by it, but whatever. I can deal with it.
Yep.
The classic loadouts, I think, is probably the biggest change, and it's by far it's made the biggest impact on gameplay. And personally, I think it makes the gameplay 100 times better. It was one of those things that I brought up during our playtest while we were there, was that they need to have support in there so that they can fall back on it. Because I felt like people were going to want it back immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously now they switched it, and it feels 10 times better. The only thing that I think might be an issue is the weapon switch time is insanely fast. So you have scenarios where you're in a shotgun fight and the dude backs up the slightest bit and you just switch to your rifle and finish him off.
Yeah, that's probably something they didn't think about when they did it, but I'm sure they'll look into it if enough people talk about it. That's something I'll be playing with myself in the future, because that's a lot different than what we're used to in the past Gears, because when you had to switch, there was always a delay on switching to your gun with the D-pad, getting it right. I mean, shit, sometimes in Gears 3 you'd switch and accidentally pull out a smoke. And this one you just tap Y and it whips it right out.
Yeah. And you can pretty much just hold down the trigger while you're switching weapons and mount it firing your lance or whatever.
Yep.
It's kind of cheap.
Yeah, it is.
Am I still robot voice?
No, you're fine.
Okay. So my calls are upsetting right now.
Yeah, it's
All right,
Skype.
so
let me try to look at some of this other stuff because I had it up. Grenade stuff. The grenades were actually taken out of the ammo crates yet. I think that's going to be a part of that.
I think they did that in the test playlist.
Test server? Yeah.
Okay, it's in the test server. All right. I have to go there and then test it out myself because I thought it was going to be universal, the way they made it sound. I'm kind of like indifferent about nades spamming because I think that's what people kind of complain about, especially with the frags. First, it was all focused on the stem. Stem got nerfed, and you saw more focus kind of shift towards the frags. Then stems got taken out, and now it's like, well, I'm sure on the game types like free for all or whatever, where you want to have some type of feels like Nade City there, but I mean in TDM and stuff, I don't feel like I die a lot to nades. There's been a couple games where I've been caught off guard by nades, but the biggest thing that the issue I have with them is not that I get killed by them a lot. I just don't know where the hell they are after someone throws it. You know, I mentioned this a couple times. It's like, because they don't have that icon on screen now, I don't know if I should roll left, right, front. I haven't also gotten stuck a lot. I guess that's another thing that people aren't too happy about from just me reading through some of the comments that I've seen on it. They don't like the stick on the frags, but I'm kind of indifferent about it again. I don't really care what they do with the grenades because either way, I mean, I don't want to go back to old frags that are ridiculously strong out their grenade indicators, which is what will probably end up happening. I think that's what Jim proposed. He either said 2 weak ones with the ammo crates, or I guess 1 weak one in this case, or you take that away, make it a pickup, and then you increase the explosion range. So if they don't have the icon showing on your HUD of where it's at, like, I don't want to play that at all. I don't want to have a super explosive pickup frag that I don't know where it's at.
Why does it have to be stronger? I don't understand that.
Because at that point it'd be classified as a power weapon.
Well, it's very useful if you know what you're doing. It's just this is the first time they've gotten it balanced right, so people can actually avoid them. You know, you don't get stunned by them. You, if you see them, you know where they are, and you can dodge them easily as long as you don't get stuck by it. You know, the explosion, the AOE isn't too much. I mean, it's really great the way the frags are right now. I don't see them being a problem if they touch the damage just a little bit, but Epic doesn't know how to do stuff just a little bit. They always go too much or too little. They never do the in between. Like we were just like what I was saying with the Torpo. Like, okay, the Torpo's slow, so let's change the freaking charge up time from whatever it is.
The fastest it ever was in the
Yeah,
series.
let's change it from the slowest it ever was in the series in Judgment to the fastest it ever was in the series. Like, why? That's their thing. I don't get it. They can never go in between. They always go to the extreme opposite end.
Yeah, maybe they figure they can dial it back a little bit. I don't know. I don't know. And if they do put this speed into the TU, and then they decide they're going to dial it back a little bit later, if this is the last title update, then, you know, if we try to go on land, it's going to be, you know, two different things. So hopefully they address that. Hopefully they address it. The other thing that Jim talked about, was audio in game. And so this is obviously footsteps. Colin, I think when you were on the show, you were talking about audio bugging you quite a bit. Some of the bugs that are associated with it. Yeah.
Oh, the audio's a mess. Yeah.
Grenades and the footstep audio is like a half second delayed. It's not even a half second. It's probably like a tenth of a second, but it's enough that like you stop moving and then you hear two footsteps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh man, this shit drives me insane.
Not to mention you can't rely on your headsets anymore. You know, like you're in cover, focus on a guy. In any of the past gears, you'd hear somebody coming behind you or something. In Judgment, you don't know if they're above you, below you, maybe somewhere around you, not actually behind you. The audio makes you just have no idea where they are.
If you can hear them at all over your loud footsteps.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what Jim said in the stream, but basically he said that they can't address it the way that we want, but they said they are going to make changes, and I'm reading them right now. It says that we can't realistically change our sound engine at this point, but we can and will significantly reduce your and your team's footsteps volume, which should help quite a bit. If you hear someone, that'll pretty much guarantee that they are an enemy.
Mm-hmm.
So that sounds like the solution that they have right now, since it's called on call, which definitely makes sense. You don't want to hear your teammates' footsteps and then do your 180 blind fire shot, and it's your teammate. You just wasted a shot. So, I mean, that sounds like something that they will address, but that doesn't change the fact that there's still audio bugs, like the grenade always sounding to your left ear or something like that, no matter where you are on the map. After you kill someone, if you stand over their body and they're switching their weapons, you can hear that. I don't know if that's a bug or if that's intentional.
So the chopper on rig makes sounds from its
the chopper on rig
original spot, regardless of where it is on the map.
When you're shooting.
No, actually, just the chopper noise itself. Even the
maybe it throws me off then when they're shooting, because I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
it's just fucked up.
So yeah, I mean, audio is definitely a mess right now. So it says they can't address the engine, which is probably the main cause of a lot of.
They said they can't change their sound engine, but it's the same sound engine they've had since Gears 1.
Isn't it baked into Unreal? Yeah, I was gonna say it's baked into Unreal, right?
Yeah.
So
they're using the same audio that they've been using for maps and such that didn't have multiple levels where you could just hop down. And it
just seems a bit weird. I mean, I imagine it could just be too much work. I doubt they couldn't do it.
It would take too long.
Yeah, it would take too long because their team is just too small right now. I mean, their team is pretty much. Yeah, their team is pretty much Rack, Jim, and Pete. I don't know who else is really doing anything at this point.
So, movement. Here's another one that is probably. I've had a couple people complain about this to me personally, like they should fix this above all things. But it's annoying, definitely. But they said that they cannot, or possibly cannot, fix the cover glitch. So if you're going in cover and you like do that weird stand-up slide, or sometimes you get stuck, they said that this is made more apparent by Judgment's increase in game speed and player density. It says that we'll look into it, but it may not be fixable. So that looks like the official answer there. I don't know how. I mean, it's annoying. That's all I'm saying. Like it's not to the point. I haven't gotten stuck a whole lot. I imagine if you don't have a great connection, it's probably even more apparent. But it's definitely really annoying. I don't know which. I think the sound bugs probably for me are more annoying than wall bouncing because I can just stop wall bouncing and I can do strafing, roadie strafing, and I'd be fine. But I don't know.
Just too much for them to fix at once. Game had so many issues. I guess they're at this point they're just picking what's the most important for us to fix. You know what they can actually pull off in the time they have.
There's just so many bugs that shouldn't even shipped. Like all the audio
Yeah,
stuff.
no, I completely agree. These are all things that I don't know how they made it to release.
Granted, Gears 2 released with shotgun shooting straight to the ground, so maybe I shouldn't have.
Oh, that was even worse.
I shouldn't have such high standards.
Yeah, that was something like, how does that even? Oof.
Every single shot went to the ground.
Like I said, the
Oh,
issue
man.
is we were spoiled with Gears of War 3 because that was the most polished that we've probably seen of all the titles, and then this one is. I mean, it was quickly put together.
Yeah, I mean, Gears 3, it seemed like they legitimately tried, but they just, obviously the matchmaking was crap again. It just wasn't as good as it could have been. But, stopping power being gone or the AR buff, those few changes would have helped the game out immensely. At least competitively, I think. That would have helped out a ton. Just few changes compared to Judgment now where you look at it, and there's so many things that needed to be changed. So many things. I mean, it was really a game designed for free-for-all. That's how I look at it, just designed for free-for-all. I don't get that. Can't use free-for-all as a selling point.
There are
Well,
a couple more.
The primary.
The final.
selling point.
Oh yeah, primary selling point. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Final suggestions were domination game type for changing the hill break time. So they changed the time to break hills from 2 seconds to 1 second. So it's more like King was on Gears 3, like the instant break. And there were two, I guess, wish list requests. Upgrade the spectator mode and theater mode. Both of those said extremely out of scope for Judgment, but excellent feedback for the future. Other than that, I guess the other mega one that people kind of hate is the reverse two-piece.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I'm the wrong person. Like Fatal needs to be the one getting on his high horse about this, but it seems like from what Jim's kind of response was like, I don't know what else you guys want me to do with this except add in arbitrary delays. But that's the only one that says we've adjusted Melee pretty significantly to address these issues. If Melee is in the game, you will always be able to shoot someone and then finish them with a hit. We've adjusted delays a bit to help prevent this tactic from being abused, and adjusting it too much further will create the unnatural delays and obstructions to gameplay that we have previously removed in response to your feedback on this very topic. So it sounds like what
don't get why people are still complaining about the melee.
I
That's my personal. At this point, you had to have dealt what 70% of the damage to him, and then melee him, and then finish him off.
Yeah, that's better than it
Like-
was.
That's normal. That's around where it was Gears 3, really.
Yeah.
I think it's just too much because people freaked out about it at launch and then are still freaking out about it. But I rarely get meleeed and killed. Like,
Yeah.
rarely happens.
I think too. Like I think because people got abused by it so much at launch and how bad it was at first that if they even get killed by it now, they just think it's just awful and broken, and just hate everything about it.
hard. It's really hard for me to. I'm more with Colin. I mean, I will say before this, like the fact that the two piece was back was aggravating. But since they made adjustments, like I've rarely been meleeed. I don't know. It's just one of those things that doesn't bother me at this point. But it bothered me when the game initially launched. Because Gears of War 3 was like, you didn't melee unless it was a last resort, which, a game about weapons, you shouldn't be able to punch people to kill. That's just my philosophy for meleeing in general. And if you guys remember, I think episode 1, like, we're not playing Street Fighter, so
No.
I think that's my biggest issue early on was like it felt like we were playing Street Fighter and people were just meleeing nonstop, and I don't have that same feeling now, so it's not as big of an issue. I'm trying to look through the rest of this.
Shotgun ammo, I think, is probably the other one.
I think they're
They kept
looking into
shotgun
that
ammo
on
at
the,
H
I think they're
shots,
doubling that,
think.
right?
and they're doubling
doubling
it
on
on the
test
test server.
Yep.
I personally don't understand like why they went with the ammo crate thing, and they also went with this on the free for all stuff where it was or with the loadout stuff where it was, oh, it doesn't matter if you only have one weapon, you'll pick up another one off a dead body pretty quickly, or you'll pick up ammo and then you'll have enough, whatever, not enough shotgun shots. That's not fun to have to go run and pick up a weapon off a dead body or to go pick up something off of a crate. Like, that's not ever going to be fun.
No,
Never.
the balance was always great at 16. I don't know why they keep messing with it.
Since you like realism, Colin, and you don't like being able to fall off ledges, technically speaking, if you're going into battle, you're taking all the ammo with you, right? Taking everything.
Yeah. The moment
So
that I
why
leave
would you
home,
only
I'm
have-
going to have all the ammo.
Yeah,
Why would
I'm
you
going to have
why
more
would
than
you
8
only
shotgun
have
shots.
that's true.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
And it's not even comparable to like maybe Quake or something where you have to go pick up a rocket launcher or something. Like it's an actual weapon, or picking up ammo for your rocket launcher. Like you're picking up ammo for a power weapon. Like it doesn't make any sense at all.
Well, it's
And It
funny.
didn't really make sense before because the reason they lowered the ammo in the first place was because people were abusing the active reload. Remember that in
Yep.
Gears 3?
Mhm.
Like
Right.
the issue is that people were abusing the active reload and just firing shots off all day. So they reduced the ammo so you couldn't do that as much. And then for some reason they're still doing that now when there's no active reload damage boost. It doesn't make sense. Like it just makes zero sense to have 8 shots.
Yeah,
outside
it
of
makes no
making
sense.
it not fun.
No.
At least that's the only line of logic. Is if you're trying to make the game not fun, then 8 ammo is the way to go.
Trying to make the game not fun, they pretty much delivered with the lack of content. So
I'm trying to see what else they have here. No locust. This cannot be changed. No.
I could've told you
Okay.
that, yeah.
Yeah, everyone knew that. I mean, I don't know why people are still even asking for it at this point.
what, weapon balancing?
No. Locust
say?
and multiplayer.
I don't know what the hell I just heard. Yeah, okay. I don't know. I think I was reading I'm reading the forum post and I heard something else in my head. I don't even know.
All right, that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't really see too many other things. Stem grenade removed. Ink grenade. Internal QA is looking for reported issues. Oh yeah, that's right. So that they said, Jim said that QA has been unable to reproduce the effect where the ink cloud is in one area and the damage is in another area, completely separate from the ink cloud.
They're still trying to
Yeah.
figure this out.
Well, he said that it's not. He said that he doesn't know if there's a bug. He says like the damage radius is inside the radius, but they probably have debug options on, so they're looking at where the actual circle is and looking at the damage and saying, yeah, that looks right based off of where it hit. But man, the ink just doesn't feel right. Like it didn't feel right on Gears 3 with the stun. It didn't feel right on Gears 2 with Invisible.
Nope.
Gears Judgment, it doesn't feel right because the clouds are like super thick in one area and like the other area is barely wispy and you're getting hurt in one and the other is like visually that doesn't make sense. I don't know. It's just that's probably one where I was like, really? They don't find an issue with the inks internally? What are they looking at? And I thought the only thing they could have is if they have the debug option on, which would show the ring of damage, where the cloud is dispersed, and then they're probably standing in the ring to see if they're getting hurt. That's my only conclusion on how they could be looking at that, other than I mean, I don't know. Like, I think everyone can agree that the ink is really misleading in damage.
Let's try and get a video then, like, because you remember we tried this, and like the very first one I threw was messed up, and then after that we couldn't repro it. Do you remember when we were
Yeah,
doing
we-
the ink damage thing,
Yeah,
and it was like the radius was all weird?
yeah.
So
I don't know.
I mean, it's hard to repro. It'd be nice if someone actually got a video of it for them. Just saying.
I actually have a video, I think that I posted not too long ago, where there's a clip. I actually threw it on steps. So I actually think it's collision based off of the geometry. So whatever model they have right there, like if it hits steps, it's going to act weird. So I threw my ink. The splatter was at the front of the steps. The guy was standing on the back of the steps. he died at the back of the steps. So I mean, I
still
know
put
it's
it
there.
way low on my list of Gears Judgment issues. Like it's
Oh, yeah.
way at the bottom.
Definitely. So I was just looking through the list and seeing what I hadn't covered, but that's pretty much it off of their responses. Some of these are in effect right now. Other things will be in effect on the title update. I will say, since this update has been put into effect, there was a bump on the number of people complaining about the classic loadouts. Like, this is why, I said in my commentary, design by Facebook is terrible. Absolutely atrocious. And I would rather Epic stuck with their guns saying this is what we're going to do than going back and forth. Despite us being bitches and complaining all the time, but it's like, man, no matter what you do, you're going to have one extreme, especially with this specific game and this community. So it's like, I don't know what to tell them at this point. Like,
it's kind of what happens when you design these polarizing things, though. Like I told them it was going to be polarizing. I think all of us knew it was going to be polarizing.
All of us do it, yeah.
Like, I mean, it was very clear.
Some people are
like,
hate it. Some people are going to be okay with it.
And it's like, if you know that up front, then yeah, exactly. You should stick with your guns if that's the decision you made. But if you weren't prepared to alienate a large portion of your fan base, you shouldn't have made the decision in the first place. Again, it's like they're trying. Just trying to do it.
I don't know, man. It's really hard to understand why they made some of the decisions they did. I don't know. I wish I could have been in those, just heard why the reasoning people had to do the things they did in Judgment. I don't think I'll ever find out.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't know. I can't remember the conversations we had with people there.
There wasn't really much explaining. It was more.
I don't think there was more. Yeah, it was like, what's your feedback on it? You know what I mean? It was like, well, we like this, we don't like this, change this. So, I mean, there's some stuff that they definitely, like, if they would have shipped with some of the stuff that we found, you guys would have been raging even harder. But
that sawed off.
That sawed off was.
I was seeing
it was fucking ridiculous.
I was seeing his sawed off. That's all he talks about.
I have no idea. Like, I was just blown away. So, that's pretty much it on those updates. You want to get some people in?
Yeah, sure. If any of you guys want to hop in the call, got anything you want to ask us, hit me up on Skype right now if you have me added, and we'll add you in the call.
I'm looking at the chat to see what's up with folks. What up? What up? What up? What's the point of even watching Epic's response anymore? They're pissing in the wind. It must be so uncomfortable for them to jump on week after week when the game is in decline and hated by the community. Ghost Kid. Dang.
Guys, tune in to see if they announce a bomb game type.
As far as I know, it's not going to happen. At least from things we've heard, it's not going to happen.
Holding out hope.
Oh dear.
Why not focus on fixing things instead of changing things? People want change. Obama. Obamification, man. We want change. We want it now.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to get it. You there, Vince?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, what's up?
I don't know if the
What's up, dude?
webcam's working.
That's alright, you don't need it, it's fine.
What's going on, guys?
Not much?
Turn off your stream.
Alrighty, so
You
what I
got it,
wanted to,
Echo.
yeah, I gotta turn the stream off right now.
Turn off your radio.
Alright, so I just wanted to talk about I mean, because I play a lot still, unlike most people. I just wanted to touch up on things that are happening still. I'll give you an example, like the leagues that are still out there and things I think that we're given a lot of opportunities as players still to play in a lot of leagues right now, and there's a thing called Cyber Bowl. It's a league that Games is doing, the GAEMSPGE.com it's called. It's pretty cool. They're giving out crazy sick prizes for a pretty dead game, as you guys know how dead it is. And my only tip to people is just to play the game. We could sit here and complain as much as we want, but I really don't think the game is that bad. If I did, I would have quit like everyone else.
Well, nobody really thinks the game's that bad. It's that it gets old fast because of the content given. Like, none of the game types really make me want to play Gears. Like, Execution's not the same to me. It doesn't really feel like Execution used to be because you can hop off so many ledges and get out of so many situations that you don't have to fight your way out of anymore. So it doesn't feel the same to me. And then Domination is just I'm not crazy about it personally. It works
Domination's
competitively. You know, people seem to they don't mind it competitively, but it's not my game type. And then it's like
King of the Hill was like a 15 times better version of Domination. It's
Yeah,
real
yeah,
bad. I really don't like Domination.
yeah.
TDM too campy, so Execution's the only thing we really have. But like I said, like I really don't think the game is that bad, and that's coming from like I'll give you an example. All of us were hardcore Gears 1 kids. Like we all love Gears War 1. When Gears 2 came out, I hated the game the first night it came out. The second day Gears of War 2 was out, I went back on Gears 1 and played. I was that kid. I was like, no, I'm not playing this. Like, this is shit. And then over time, I was like, this game is amazing. And I loved Gears 2, and I loved it competitively and everything else. And I think that's just, people are just fed up, and they just don't care. And they're just like, this is the fourth game. They should have gotten it right by now. I'm not dealing with it. I'm just not going to play. And, like, I don't know. Like, I feel if you were a hardcore Gears fan, you wouldn't just get up and quit that easy, especially when we have things. Like, Game Battles gave us all of these test ladders. Like, I don't know if you guys saw it, but they keep doing 2v2s and 4v4 tournaments, and no one plays. They don't get signed up. So why the hell would anybody ever want to give us a chance if we can't get 16 teams to play in a 4 versus 4 tournament on a weekend?
Well, yeah, it's because the numbers so low. I mean, people aren't just thinking competitively. It's like numbers overall. The game sold like a quarter of the amount of copies it did. We've already lost half, if not more, of those players that bought it. So if you think competitively, that's a lot of people who don't play anymore. I mean, what top teams are playing Gal Judgment right now? I don't know any.
There really is no top teams that play Judgment right now. The only current teams that I know that play the game is my team. I'm on Lethal Injection with Chubbs, Deadly, and Baird. We consistently play. There's not really top teams though. There's a couple teams like that Magnus kid and Reclusion have their own team. I know FYC has a team.
FYC, yeah,
The Vicious-
I know FYC does.
Vicious Vendetta has a team. There's like maybe 5 or 6 total teams scrimming that I know, and that's sad to see. But like game balance, you guys love to talk about game balance and guns and weapons and all that kind of stuff. I personally think that if they need to tone anything down, they need to tone down the Lancer. And I played in like 10 online tournaments already, and I played on LAN. And the Lancer is still just too overpowered for competitive play. If you allowed 4 Lancers, a team would use 4 Lancers. Like Domination, there would be no shotgun play. It would never be needed. It's same thing in Execution.
What about Hammer Burst?
The Hammer Burst, as a good player, and I know you love to use the Hammer Burst, Arctic, and so does like Immortal Spawn. It's so broken. Like that gun, if you're a good player, they made it harder, which is great. They made it a lot harder in this one than it was in 3. But if you're like a good player, if you played Gears of War and you're like a competitive player and one of us, that Hammer Burst is the best gun in the game. You can burst somebody in a half a second, and there's just no way that would be allowed to be did.
You're saying it's harder to use than the Lancer, correct?
It's definitely harder to use than the Lancer, yes.
Okay.
But the
Power-wise,
the damage
strong.
output is just insane. You can literally hold off a 2v1 with a Hammer Burst. Imagine the people that had the best pistols. Imagine giving like that kid Genesis a Hammer Burst nowadays if he played every day. It would slow the gameplay down an incredible amount and just not make it fun for viewers to watch. And that's what we always have is Gears. People want to watch Gears or used to want to watch Gears.
What
It's
about
the most
the
exciting
classic
game.
Hammer Burst?
I like the classic Hammer Burst. I think it takes a good amount of skill. It's definitely overpowered. Every gun in the game is overpowered. We've just learned to play with it. But I actually like the classic Hammer Burst. I think it takes a lot more skill, and I use that more than I would use like the normal Hammer Burst or Lancer because it's more rewarding. I don't think the Gnasher is wrong, to be honest. I don't think there's much wrong with the Gnasher at all. It's a little inconsistent. The gun doesn't shoot out of the square, as everyone knows. It comes out of the middle of your screen. That they did that just to help boost all the new people to the game to help them use the shotgun because that's what we all use. But like I said, the Lancer is just really the thing that kills it for me when it comes to competitive play. It's literally it can make a player that's so much less skilled than you just be able to dominate you if you get caught off guard. And that's why when we first started playing competitive, shotgun, like the all shotgun only pistol, was the best gameplay.
statistically, it's actually weaker than the Gears 3 active Lancer. Do you think that it's the map design that leads to the Lancer being really strong? There's lots of really open areas you have to run across.
That's probably it.
That's because the maps are so big. That definitely can have a part to do with it.
I just mean, like, statistically, if you just look at like the raw damage and the time to down, it's actually less than the active Lancer was. But obviously, it's greater than the regular Lancer was. Kind of like met it halfway.
Yeah, I mean, maybe because you don't even have to get an active now, and it's just that strong already, and you could just constantly shoot. The fact that the clip is still just way too big is another thing. That the Lancer clip should be half of what it is for it to be even considered.
Well, from what I've heard, they're already looking into cutting down the Lancer clip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's going to be like, I think it's in the test server they're going to be doing 45.
Is that what it is? 45.
I think.
That's a huge start for competitive and just the game in general. Because in Gears 3, you were able to, and even in this now, you were able to, if you had one Lancer, say you had a half a clip of actives, in King of the Hill competitively, you could down 2 people over and over again. They would literally have to chain revive, and most of the time, they would still lose that fight.
Mm-hmm.
And that just shouldn't. Why should one player with a rifle be able to do that to two or 3 players? If you have 2 Lancers on you, now what? Now what happens?
Yeah.
And now that there's no downs, except for execution, where are you going?
I think that's a big change too.
They said 40.
It's 40. Okay.
Now you get caught. You don't even have to get caught very open. It's not even like you get caught in a hallway and somebody's got a Lancer on you. You don't get down. You're dead. Now they have everything on you. So why would you're not giving people an incentive to use a shotgun or anything else? Like I play ranked all the time. Streets. There's kids that camp with 5 hammer bursts inside the torque bow tower, and you have to literally creep up on them and nade them out and hammer them. And library, as we all know, everyone just goes up in the room. And there's so many things to make this game not fun. And that's why people quit. But there's little things that could just be changed. Like here, I'll give you an example.
What happened
Bomberman?
on Streets though? That happens in Gears of War all the time. So it's like. Yeah. I mean, Blood Drive, for example, was a map where we all know Gears 2, Gears 3, people wouldn't move. You know what I mean? That's just part of how people play. So it's like,
especially if it's 5 coordinated people.
So that's an element of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's an element of the game.
I completely agree. They'll find no matter what map or where you are, they're going to do that. And I don't have a problem with that because that's the person's choice and play style. It's like there just got to be an incentive to move though if you ever want the gameplay to be well. Like. That's why I was throwing out the example.
It's a TDM issue, really.
Yeah.
TDM sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I'm sure you guys all played Bomberman 1 growing up.
Yeah.
Remember when the level was when you guys were taking too long, the level started closing in on you. That's what Gears kids need to move them out of these tunnels.
Well, I think we talked about that in I think we talked about I think somebody brought up the Shoot Mania idea, how that happens in Shoot Mania. I don't see that working, but I mean I understand your point. Like people need that to get them to move.
We need something
I have an easier
like
incentive. I have an easier incentive for you. There could be 2 objectives on the map, and then you have to walk up to one of them, and then you hold down X, and then it bomb arms, and the other team has 30 seconds to disarm it, and that way one team has to be on offense and actually aggressively push, and the other team can camp. That's fine, but they have to camp both sides of the map. And then, of course, if the bomb gets armed, then there's a definitive end time. There's like a 30 seconds to a 1 minute period where they can have a chance to disarm it, to move across the map aggressively, and then disarm the bomb. Or it hits the 1 minute time and the round is over and you start again with the other team having the incentive to attack. It's fucking brilliant, right? I thought of that. I actually thought of that.
Such an amazing idea. You should go to some creators with that idea.
I don't know.
Fucking TDM, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, like this game, come on. This game was designed for TDM free for all.
The game on LAN is pretty smooth though, and that's why I hope a hype happens if But how could hype happen if we don't have enough teams? I don't know how many teams they need to be able to want to run it, but Kenny came to the LAN, Cream played at the LAN we went to, the little 2v2 LAN. The game ran smooth on LAN. It ran fine. It ran fast pace. I didn't see that many glitches on LAN. There's tons of glitches in this game, like when you spawn on streets and you go to run and you get stuck on the wall, and there's different things. I didn't see one of those happen the whole day, and all we did was play streets. So, the game runs smooth on LAN, and I think it would be the same hype Gears and be a fun time to play. This is the faster movement, a lot of the pros don't like this game. A lot of the pros from back in the day. And it's because, everyone says everybody can roadie run strafe, everybody can do this and that. Well, the game has evolved and it became so much faster now. And is that not a good thing? Do you not want people to be able to do that? Like, people get mad that, I can die so much easier. Well, now if you can stay alive even more, you should feel more credited now. Like, the game is faster and smoother. And, yeah, do people still eat point-blank shots? Gears just doesn't know how to fix that. They clearly proved that in 4 games. So what are you going to do? You're going to cry about it or keep playing? Like,
I'll say this. I get what you're trying to do. Like, you enjoy the game and you want competitive to live. I get that. I also want competitive to survive. But quite frankly, there's nothing that Epic can do that'll make everyone come back. Like, that's never, ever going to happen. I don't think people are magically going to start playing competitively either. And I think that, realistically, like,
don't
most
say
of the guys...
because here's I'm going to just cut you off for a sec. Real quick, I'm going to let you finish. If they said, here's $1 million tournament, every team would sign up. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. If you want to hold $1 million tournament, everyone would show up.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
not
going to
realistic, but that would make people play with the game.
That games league I was bringing up, they have big money. Like, I'll give you an example. I don't know if everybody knows what a Vanguard is and a Sentry. They're like gaming mobile devices. They go for like $250, $350. There's a league that we play in currently. No one plays in the league. First place, they have an overrun league and a 4v4 league. I'll give you an example. The overrun league, first place prize, you get 5 Vanguards and $1,000. It's free to play.
We've been playing for small shit for basically since Gears 1 came out. There's been small tournaments, and that's what I consider like a small tournament because it's a prize with a small cash prize as well. But like that kind of stuff's fine. Kale was trying to say that if there was something huge that was as large or like larger than what we expected in the Gears 1 days, like $40,000-$50,000 or $1 million as he went all the way to, like that's enough that'll get people back just to practice for that one tournament. Because the issue I was getting towards is the people who've been playing since Gears 1, they've been like it's the people they started off. They were probably like 16 or 17-year-olds average, and now those people are my age. They're 23, 24, 25, and what's happened is like they can't play for the small shit anymore to a point where Gears Judgment.
They're only going to make time if the money is worth it. I understand that. Now my point is, shouldn't there be more of the people that want to play for the passion of the game and just like people, I agree. I want to play.
That's fine if the game was good. Like most people don't like the game, so there's no more passion of the game. Like that's not going to happen. Most people just don't like it.
I guess so. That's what I'm trying to say is like people play to go to LANs and meet people and do all these different things, and there's free online tournaments constantly there's free, they're giving out all of these prizes and things. That's what I was hoping would give an incentive to people to play because
it's not enough though. Like all there has to be big money thrown at it at this point to get people to want to come and play because it's just the gameplay is not compelling in Judgment because of the game types, because of the maps. Like it's not like I really enjoy this. Like you have
with stuff, it's going to be over. By the time they get up, it's going to be even more dead by the time they get the stuff out. But people, I think this Gears community, and not just the Gears community, all these communities are fucking brain dead when it comes to like thinking you're going to be a professional video gamer and that's what you're going to do for a living. It's like these people that go to Atlantic City and they win $500 playing poker and they're like, I'm going to quit my day job. Like you can ask a lot of these ex-pros that won all of these gigantic tournaments and different things. Like, who was that? The Halo player. What do you call it? Walshy. I remember reading a thing on Walshy. Walshy was one of the top players for a long, long time. He was like the best player for a real long time. He wrote an article. They were like, how you do with all this money, like this and that. He's like, I work a full-time job. I drive the same shitty car. It's breaking down since high school. And I work part-time or something. He's like, it didn't change anything. These people don't understand, like, not everybody's going to play a League of Legends tournament and win every single one. Like, these Call of Duty kids that are winning all these tournaments, good for them. But these people are looking up to them like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. You're not going to do that. I'm sorry if you don't want to hear that, but it's just not going to happen. If you're playing these video games, you're playing for fun. Not everybody's a Justin Wong or a Chris G, and you're not going to make your paycheck just playing video games. So where do you draw that line? Like, if you don't like the game, don't you want to wait for it to come out with some content and stuff like that and keep trying? Like,
or I could just play something else that I have a good time playing.
Yeah, like me.
Agreed.
The
That's
only
why
reason I would say that people come back to big money is because they can find enjoyment in the competition. That's how I am. Like, I personally enjoy the competition of trying to be the best. And when there's a big money tournament, then everyone's going to practice, everyone's going to be on, you're going to be able to get scrims every night, you're going to get to go to one cool event, you're going to have a lot of fun, and that's it. Like,
so like
that's
Arctic
what-
said, if there's
that's what's going to
$100,000
bring people back
tournament-
with a giant money tournament. It's not that people are suddenly going to like the game. Like, that's not going to happen.
So if a $100,000 tournament came and it happened in 3 months, your team's coming back. That's what you're saying.
Mike can say I wouldn't enjoy playing the game. I enjoy competing. That's it.
Here's the
But you
thing.
guys-
Here's the thing with that. It's really difficult to compare gaming with poker. First off, because the skill-based and luck-based aspect of those two things are more leaning skill-based for gaming versus luck-based for poker. You can make the comparison there, but the aspirations for, I'd say, adolescents, young kids, young adults to play in tournaments and win big money, that's the same thing as saying, hey, dude, you're not going to fucking be anything in basketball. Don't fucking try it. You suck. So in that regard, I have no agreement with you in that because this is pretty much almost the same when it comes to skill directly related to the time you put in, directly related to results in a game. And some people have it, some people don't. Some people can play basketball, some people can't. I've been on that side. I know people that can play sports, and I know people that they could practice basketball all their life. They're never going to be able to dunk a ball. Like, they just don't have it. So that regard of what you said, I don't necessarily agree with, because people can aspire to do whatever the fuck they want to do. But the rest of that,
with that, what I'm trying to say is, like, they have to understand that the golden, the light at the end of the tunnel is not going to be what they think it is.
Yeah, I think having realistic expectations is what you're going for. The way you ordered that was shitty, but realistic expectations is probably the best way to say that.
Fair
I'm just
people don't.
calling
people
you out
don't.
on that.
People, no. Okay, I agree. I agree to a certain extent that, like I said, I always wanted to, I didn't start playing till Gears 2, and my incentive was to win the championships and place pro and all this. That's not going to get me much more than, a little sponsorship here and there and a couple $1,000s, which isn't going to change my life. That's what I'm trying to tell people. People are like, oh, this new game's out, this tournament's here, this tournament's here, this tournament's here. But if you win all that, it's great, but it might help pay for a couple bills, but it's not going to change your life. And that's what people are saying, like, oh, well, we're not having Call of Duty has $1 million tournament. Where the hell is ours? Well, we need to work at $1,000 tournament before we get $1 million tournament. And that's why everyone's just like, I'm not playing. I'm done. So if everyone's going to have the same negative attitude, we're never going to get anywhere. Gears 5 come out, we're going to have worse results.
It has nothing. I think it has nothing to
MLG
do with
kind
it.
of spoiled that because we've already had $1,000 tournaments. We've
Yeah.
had them for 7 years. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? We've already had that. We've already been there. So what you're saying, yeah, sure, that's fine. But what needs to happen is there needs to be a new wave of players. And this is what Colin was saying, is that the guys are like 23, 24, 25, or older, for example. We don't have time to sit there and play this game for $1,000. Like, I got a family now. Like, I'm not gonna sit down and play Gears of War Judgment competitively for $1,000 tournament. I'm just not gonna do it. I'm not gonna waste my time there. I will make content. I will do things like this to help the community, to foster the community in there. But my job as a player at this point is more about facilitating and informing people on what they should do if they want to get into the industry. My job is not to make someone go out and play. It's like, okay, this $1,000 tournament isn't worth my time investment. As someone that advocates esports and competitive gaming, I would say, if that's what your goal is, dude, play Call of Duty. Play that. If that's your goal in esports. If you are playing for the love of the game, you play Gears.
Keep
You
doing
play
your
Gears,
thing,
you play
like,
Gears 3.
yeah.
Play Gears Judgment. Go to Hype. Go do this. Go do that. But I'm not trying to sit here and say, you need to play this game because otherwise the competitive community is dead. The community makes itself. So, I mean, it's really about people that are 16, 17, 18 getting into Gears of War Judgment or whatever Gears of War title on the next-gen consoles and saying, okay, I'm going to sit down and play this game. Oh, there's also a competitive area. How do I get involved with that? Because that's the process that I had, and that's the process that the guys for Halo, for Call of Duty, for StarCraft, for all of those, that's the process. Was like, man, I really love this game. Oh, I'm good at this game. Oh, there's also some competitive stuff, and that's how the community grew. It was natural. It's not me saying, go to this to support your game. That's not at
No.
all the message that we want to deliver.
No, and I'll agree. And I think you guys are doing a good job each week, like talking about what needs to be done for the future of Gears, not just this one, which is good because we need. You're right that this game and video games aren't made for us 23-year-olds and 25-year-olds. They're made for that new wave that you're talking about, that 18-year-old and that whole team of 20-year-olds and 18-year-olds and young kids to come play. Like Call of Duty is a good example that you made because they can make an online GB tournament and they'll have 100 teams sign up because that's the new game to play in. Those are the kids. That's where they are. So we need to do what we have to do to get that wave in, and it seems like we're failing really bad. Like the game. I mean, the content obviously is a huge thing for us competitively. We don't have enough maps. Like when the game came out, 4 maps. That's kind of an embarrassment and a shove in our face. And then promising all this stuff is not really helping. I can't wait for the update to see what happens. And every time they make an update, they fix the game, and it's been better. The Bushka having 3 shots in it, you know how much better that is for competitive play already? That's great. Like things like that. The dual loadouts, I think the dual loadouts are awesome, but we also need to not have a Lancer that can kill everyone because now everyone has one.
Yeah, it's all good and great, but I really don't want to do this rant anymore. I feel like I'm getting lost in it. I'm just being honest.
Fair enough.
I was lost like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on at this point. I know we have somebody else, Gorgon Freeman, who I told we let him in on before the show even started, so I'm gonna try and bring him in now if he's here.
No problem.
Where is he? Here's Gorgon. If you're here, let us know in the chat. Looking for your name. I'll drag you in the show.
Alrighty, well, thanks for filling me on, guys. Have a good time, guys.
All right, see you, man.
Later.
I think Gorgon has left at this point. Oh no, there he
He
is.
says, I'm here.
All right, buddy, I'm gonna add you in here. Oh, that's the wrong dude.
Who's that?
Whoops. Wrong name. That's awkward. Too many things popping up at once. Accidentally clicked the wrong one. Are you there? Hello, sir.
Hello? Hello? Hello, pulpit.
We can hear you. So you can hear us.
I can't hear him.
Chris. He's working out his mic.
Huh.
The Mac Daddy make you jump, jump. Crisscross, I make you jump, jump. Uh-huh, yeah.
I don't. I think it's the wrong crisscross.
I couldn't resist. Do we want to get someone else? Is Chris there?
I don't know. I can't hear him.
Chris Kraus.
Chris.
Just run in the other direction.
All right. I'm just gonna have to hang up on him. I don't know where he is.
No, there was 2 dudes in Chris Cross.
Anybody else there wants to hop in? Please message me. As long as you got something productive to talk about.
Please don't tell me that.
No. I bring Fatal in here. I'll be here for 45 minutes, and I won't even know what's happening.
They don't need to be studying. What is he doing?
Yeah. What the fuck? Makes me come on the fucking show and talk shit about Gears.
Hey,
Shows
this
up in chat the entire time.
constructive feedback, Colin.
At this point, it's just shit talk from me.
'Cause
I'm not,
you-
it's not constructive if someone's listening.
you get paid.
I feel like in my bomb game.
It's a rant. He wants to get.
Oh my god, I did it again! Wow, I feel like a dick.
That's that dude.
That's the same guy twice. I wasn't even on that name. I don't even know how that happened. Alright, we got Sniper 44 if you guys remember him. From back in the Gears one day. He says he got something he wanted to drag. I'm sorry, Dan. That was I feel so dickish right now. Like just
That's messed up, man.
I'm sorry.
Disrespectful.
Yo, what's up?
Howdy.
Hold on one second, I gotta turn up the volume. Alright.
What's up,
Alright, I
man?
can hear you. Okay, good.
So what does he want to
Hey,
talk
Pete.
about?
Alright. I wanted to talk about, because I heard J-Man's brought up, he brought up the whole Lancer thing. And, I don't know if you guys ever play with me, but I use a Lancer like it's a fucking job in this game. And I've noticed changes, I've noticed everything, I've messed around with it. And one big thing that everybody's missing, the whole change from like Gears 1, Gears 2, Gears 3 to Judgment, is the whole accuracy thing. Like even with blind fires, that whole accuracy thing changed. Like when you blind fired back on Gears 1 with any other gun, the accuracy would just be terrible. Especially with the sniper rifle. Like I'm sure everybody's used the sniper rifle before. When you walk with it, like you know how you're trying to get like a walking headshot, the accuracy is terrible. Like you'll miss your shot. It will not be on par with what it is. But if you use sniper in this game, it's straight shot no matter what. No active reload, no bullshit. It's a straight shot no matter how much you move. I think that's one of the biggest things that really changed this game. And why the Lancer is so powerful is because the accuracy is so good.
Yeah, that's something I know I touched base on a while ago, that the hip fire is ridiculous with the Lancer, especially. I mean, I know with snipers it's good, but it's really a skill shot with snipers. You know, and everything else, the hip fire is not too bad. It's really like the automatic weapons, like the Lancer, because you can just let it rip and just turn corners shooting people, and you don't even have to really L trigger. You just turn the corner shooting.
And it's not even that. I mean, like they gave the accuracy, and they also gave you a reticle. I mean, I'm like, it's Christmas over here, man. I'm fucking running around blind firing people like it's nothing, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
primarily, they want the weapon to be able to compete with everything else, which I think is a bit off, but
That doesn't work. Yeah, it just doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd argue in competitive play, it's probably more L triggering than hip firing.
Yeah.
In general.
Oh yeah, you can down someone pretty fast.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's strong, no doubt, and that's definitely
With the
something
stopping
that's
power,
changed.
Yeah, I don't mind the reticle thing. You know, that's something I guess because I'm already used to lining up the middle of the screen and like almost any
Oh, yeah,
PC shooter and all that. You know, I'm used to it, so it doesn't bother me, and I don't mind people having that little bit of help. It's really that it's so accurate in general, it doesn't really move when you hip fire it. So people,
Exactly.
they can just spray away and it doesn't matter.
Sit there and strafe and just laugh at the person while he goes down.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. I mean, they got rid of stopping power, but then they made it so good that stopping power, it doesn't matter if you have it or you don't. You're still gonna kill people with it if you know how to use it. And you could tell that like what Colin said. I mean, they're trying to make it compete with everything else because they designed this entire game around free for all.
Yeah, they did.
Like it's
All the
just,
maps.
I mean, a Lancer should never beat a shotgun close range. Never, ever. The only one that should is a retro. That's why it was made, for close range power. And then they made everything great. So it was like, if you really knew how to use anything, you were great with it all at any distance. Unless, it's obviously a shotgun's not going to work long range, and a retro is pretty much ass long range, but, everything else, if you're good enough with it, you can use it at close range.
Yeah. Like, I honestly lose my Lancer like it's a freaking shotgun. I mean...
I've seen it, I know.
Yeah. I run up and just be like, in everybody's face, and they don't know what to do, so I just sit there like a strafe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what can be done with it now.
No comments on that. I don't really. Lancer's accurate. It's the whole hip fire, the reticle thing is like my argument would only piss you guys off for that, so I don't really care.
Yeah. Well, I just
It's like beating a dead horse.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, personally, I'm sure we talked about it before. If accidentally clicked off. Yeah. I mean, a hip fire in general, when the guy's walking, he's not really holding a gun steadily with any weapon. except the shotgun, I guess, because they tried to instill a consistent shot, should bounce around.
Yeah, it
That's
should.
what I think.
I
but-
think the accuracy should definitely be changed. I mean, I didn't see the episode when you guys talked about it, but you know.
Yeah. I don't mind it
That's
being
not
accurate
for
when
sure.
you
Yeah.
L trigger, obviously, because you're L trigger and you're holding the gun down. You know, that makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes sense. But a hip fire shouldn't be that accurate with any gun.
Yeah, they literally made it like Rambo style. Like
Yeah.
Rambo's just like holding a freaking machine gun and just running up to you like.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna go Lancer some kids. Thank you for.
No problem.
No problem. See you, buddy.
All right.
I saw the chat saying to get Inhale in.
Inhale. Who's that?
I have no idea.
Who's Inhale? Do I even have him on Skype? What's his? Inhale.
That was a troll. Oh, okay. I was just reading the chat. I didn't have no idea.
All right. Well, I mean, if I don't know what else there's really talking about. Who else really bringing at this point? Show already went way longer than I planned on it going, as always.
Hour and 10 minutes. We started
Oh yeah,
at
we started
10
late. Yeah, we started late. Forgot about that. Okay.
Yeah.
So not bad then. Not bad.
Nope.
Selend apparently wants to be on. I'm not sure at all what you're going to contribute to it. Because all you play is League. Are you just-
War needs is more champions.
Are you just going to come on here and preach about Atmo? Is that what's going to happen? All right, well, yeah, I guess if that's it, I guess people do our sign-offs. I don't really know what else there's to talk about tonight.
That's it. Massive update
Yeah.
going into effect. That was the basis for this show anyway, talking about that. So yeah, we can go ahead and do those shout out to everyone watching, still tuning in to listen to us rant about Gears, trying to bring it in line with more on what I think we all envision for the game. Shout out to everyone on the show tonight. Mints, was that who was Pete? I think was his name.
Oh yeah, that's
I don't
Sniper.
know.
That's Sniper 44.
Sniper?
Yeah, Sniper
Okay,
44.
okay.
He's from way back Gears 1
Way
days.
back.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Kenny, Colin, obviously, all of our supporters and everything. This is always fun. We'll see what the future holds. I'm interested to see what we're going to talk about next week. Going to watch Epic Games live stream. I'm out. I'm done.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys. It was nice being on. Whenever you guys are ready to move on from Gears to some other game, we have Frag Logic every Tuesday with Kale and I. That's right. I'll plug it. We talk about all sorts of different games and shit. So check it out. That's all I got.
Yeah, as always, guys, thanks for tuning in. You know, for the few that did this week, I really do appreciate it. We'll see you guys next week. Not sure what we'll be discussing, but I'm sure we'll find something. Hopefully, Epic announces something on their live stream, so we'll see what happens with that. So yeah, see you guys all next week. Good night.
Peace.